Yeah, it started.
So good morning everyone. So far we discussed services provided by AWS. Like in compute we discussed EC2 Elastic Cloud Compute Service, which through which we created instances, different types of instances, and we also saw how security is provided to those instances. Coming to storage, we discussed S3 and we also discussed different types of storages, all these storages when we use these storages. We also saw security operations in this storage service. Coming to database services, so we discussed in the last class, we discussed the different database services and when to use these different types of database services. So apart from these, coming to networking and content delivery services, we saw a VPC, CloudFront and Route 53, which are very important. And we saw how security works in these virtual private cloud, CloudFront and Route 53. Uh, we only saw when to use these EC2 instances, in which case. Suppose I told you there are three types of service models in cloud computing. One is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, right? While someone asks us only for infrastructure as a service, then we choose this compute service and through EC2 we provide them that service. Coming to the other two services like platform as a service or it might be a software as a service, there should be a combination of EC2 compute service, storage service, database service, networking and content delivery service. There should be a mixture of all these services in order to provide the cloud consumer with the type of service model he requires. Take platform as a service. In platform as a service, we will be providing him with networking and storage. What he does is he satisfies his infrastructure according to his configuration. If a cloud consumer asks us, we are cloud providers, right? If he asks us a software as a service, then it is our duty to provide him with compute service, storage service, databases service, networking and content delivery service, and all the other services in Amazon Web Services. According to his configuration, we have to provide him. So we what we discussed so far is when to use these services. Now in this last week we will be discussing the integration of all the services. For example, coming to security, what we have done so far is we discussed the security in these services, security that belong to only these services, whether it might be EC2 or VPC. We discussed only the security that is inside, whether it might be security groups or network ACLs that only belong to these VPCs or EC2, right? Now, if we have an integration, if someone asks for a service, that service model that requires integration of many services, then we have to provide him security, right? So this security will be provided him using the service security, identity and compliance. In this service security, identity and compliance, today we will be starting a new thing, that is IAM, Identity Access Management. So let us start today's topic. Today we will be discussing IAM features, what is IAM, and IAM policies and how to create a IAM policy. Now moving on, IAM, Identity Access Management. So what this IAM does is it enables us to securely control user access to all AWS services and resources. Let me show you a thing. So here, through IAM, identity and access management, we can have an administrative user who can control all the users who can access the services provided by Amazon. Let us assume that here the first user wants to access to Amazon EC2 and Amazon EC3, while as the second user only wants access to Amazon S3, and here the third user wants access to Amazon S3 and Amazon RDS. So what we can do is we can create a admin user, that is us. Here we can create ourselves as we can make ourselves as admin user and provide all these users with the services they want. And we can have by doing this we can have a security. That means we can have, if these users can't access, they want Amazon S3 only, right? We provide him with only that service, and they can't access the other services like Amazon EC2 or Amazon RDS. And these users cannot access Amazon EC2, while as these users cannot access Amazon RDS. So all this is encrypted, and we provide these users with those passwords, and they can only access the given services, the services which are allotted to them. So this is why we use identity and access management, that is IAM, as a service. So what IAM does is IAM enables us to securely control user access to all AWS services and resources. So I hope everyone is clear. If you have any doubt, you can ask me now about IAM. So yes, that was introduction about IAM, identity and access management. Let us see how this dashboard looks. So we just have to get into IAM dashboard. For that, you have to log in into your Amazon Web Service Management console. And in that, you will be having the service security, identity and compliance. You can see here security, identity and compliance. And in this, we have a service IAM. You just have to click that. And this is the IAM dashboard. So here are the different things like access management, access reports, policies, roles, user groups. All these we'll be discussing tomorrow, users, groups or roles. Now coming to the important thing, features of IAM, identity access management. So coming to features, there are 8 important features provided by identity and access management. They are: 1, shared access to our account; 2, it provides us to create a granular permissions; third one, we can have a secure access to AWS, to all the AWS resources; fourth one, we can have identity federation; fifth one, we can have identity information for assurance; sixth one, we can have it's PCI DSS compliance; seventh one, we can have a password policy; and the last one is eighth one, we can have multi-factor authentication. So what does all these features do? There are these 8 features. They provide the ultimate goal of them is to provide us with security. Now let us discuss each and every feature that is provided us with identity and access management, that is IAM. Now the first one is shared access to our account. So what is shared access? So through this shared access, we can grant other permissions to access and use resources in our account without sharing our password. So we will be here. You can see we will be administrative user, right? So these are the users that can access our web services. Now, if we are an admin user, then what we can do is we can create an admin password and we can get access to all the services we want. Suppose that a user comes as who just wants Amazon EC2 or Amazon S3, we can provide him through an encryption password, and we can give him that password, and what he can do is he can only access S3 and EC2. If someone wants only S3, we can give him that password. So what we have to do is, what we are doing this is, we are not sharing our password, but we are sharing our resources. So IAM allows us with this option. Through this we can have the maximum security. No one can have the administrative access, but what they can have is access to the Amazon Web Services. I hope everyone is clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now. So this is about shared access. What shared access does is we can grant other permissions to access and use resources in our account without sharing our administrative password. So moving on to the second key feature, it is granular permissions. So here you can see this granular permissions. Through this granular permissions, we can set these granular permissions using identity and access management. What we can do is we can grant different permissions to people to manage their access to Amazon Web Services. It's us through these granular permissions who can define which users can use which services. Let me give an example. We can have some users that can access EC2 instance and some users that can access EC2 instance that belongs to development. We can also set development tool to have only read and write access to volume, but not administrative access. So as you can see, this through this granular permission, if development teams ask us to provide them a service, then what we can do is we can access them to have a read write access to the volume. That means they can change their storage according to their requirement, but they cannot have admin access. Understood, right? They cannot have administrative access, but they can have that means they cannot delete the volume. What they cannot create a volume. They can neither create a volume nor delete a volume. What they can do is they can only read or write. They can edit the volume, they can edit the storage that is in EC2 instance. Apart from this, we can also create a granular permission in a way that they can add instances with their volumes. So they have a volume, they have a storage, right? So they can add this storage to the instances, but they cannot add or create or delete new instances, or they cannot delete the old instances. So this can be the thing which can be provided with granular permissions. As you can see, through this we can also obtain the maximum security without by providing, here we provided them the service they want, but we haven't provided them with the admin access. That is, they cannot create or delete something that is already present. What they can do is they can edit the things that are present in the volumes or instances. So this is about the granular permissions. So what granular permission does is we can set grant different permissions to different people to manage their access to Amazon Web Services. So this was the second key feature. Moving on to the third feature, we can have a secure access. We can have a secure access using IAM, Identity Access Management. We can securely allocate the credentials that applications on EC2 instance required to access AWS resources. Suppose that this we have access over EC2 and someone wants to access S3 bucket and database storage. So what we can do is through this thing we can have a password to him, and he can only access S3 bucket and database storage. He cannot access the other things. What this is a secure access. So with a secure access, we can allocate the credentials that applications on EC2 instances required to access AWS resources. So that was about the third feature, that is secure access. Moving on to the fourth one, that is identity federation. So this one is a quite important one nowadays, because through identity federation, what we can do is we can allow user with the external accounts to have temporarily access to AWS resources. Like if someone has an account in FB or Microsoft or Google, through those accounts we can have them temporarily access to our Amazon Web Services. Let me give an example. If you get into some website, take SoloLearn. In SoloLearn, you can either create an account by giving all the credentials, or you can directly click the option sign in or sign up with Google account, right? Everyone remembers that, right? So that service can be accessed through this identity federation. So we can allow users with external accounts to have temporary access to AWS resources. In SoloLearn, using Google account, we just had a Google account. We had no Solo account with us. What we does is we just clicked on sign up with Google, and it took care of everything, right? So in the similar way, we can have here, if someone has a Google account or FB account or a Microsoft account, he can directly have a temporary access to a Amazon Web Services. We can have that service like using this identity federation. This comes under identity and access management. Everyone understood, right? So that was the fourth feature, the fourth important feature we discussed, identity federations. Moving on, the fifth one is identity information. So generally what identity information does is, using identity information we can log, monitor and track what users are doing with our AWS services. So as you can see here, there are three different types of users. So this is us, the admin user. We have the full control, and these are our IAM users who asked us for different services. So what we can do is we can have them provided with the service as S3 bucket is the service we are providing them, and we can have identity information. Using identity information, what we does is, using CloudTrail, AWS CloudTrail, we can access this identity information and we can track what users are doing with our data present in the S3 bucket. Understood, right? So using identity information, we can either log, monitor or track what users, all the users are doing with our AWS services or the data that belongs to us, we admin users. So that is about identity information. That was the fifth service. Moving on to the sixth one, that is PCI DSS. So here IAM provides us with a survey with a feature called PCI DSS, where PCI is payment card industry and DSS is data security standard. So what we can do is we can have a safe payment transactions using this PCI DSS compliance. This is the sixth key feature, that is PCI DSS compliance, that is payment card industry data security standard compliance. So you can see that in different types of website there is if we want to do payments, we can give our cards, or whether it might be a credit card or whether it might be a debit card. All these card transactions are taken care by this feature called PCI DSS compliance. If the user wants us to provide him with a feature like a payment feature, if he has something to sell in his website, then we will be providing him with this feature using IAM, identity and access management, that is PCI DSS compliance, payment card industry data security standard compliance. So through this feature we can have secure transaction through cards, whether it might be a credit card or it might be a debit card. So that was the sixth important feature. Moving on for the seventh feature, that is multi-factor authentication. So what does this multi-factor authentication does? Uh, we already discussed something called MFA delete, right? That is one needs to provide code, a 6-digit code for accessing or deleting the data he want. In the similar way, multi-factor authentication is the key feature provided by identity and access management. We can have absolute security using this. We can have a multi-factor authentication for the users, where they will be having their user ID and password, but they will also be having this multi-factor authentication devices codes every time they log in to use a service that is provided by us. So this was about multi-factor authentication. I hope everyone understood, right? Moving on to the last key feature, password policy. So uh, with whatever we want, for example, if we want to create a password for Facebook, then there are something like there must be a caps lock letter, there must be a special character, right? So all these types are set using this password policy. To this we can set the type of password we want the user to be setting. So here we will be provided with a different option, and we, according to this, if we want at least one numeric non-alphanumeric character, then we can select this. And by selecting all this, what we do is we ask user to create a password according to our policy. So what password policy does is, it allows us to set the type of password people want, or the type of password we want our users to be creating. So that was the feature password policy. So those were all the 8 important features of identity and access management. I hope everyone is clear. If you have any doubt, you can ask me now. So let me brief you again. There are 8 important features provided by identity and access management. The first one is shared access, where we'll be having a shared access where we can grant permissions to access and user resources in our account without sharing the administrative password. Now the second one, granular permissions, and we can grant different permissions to different people to manage their access to AWS services without providing him to create or something like administrative access. Moving on to the third important feature, secure access. We can have securely allocate the credentials that applications on EC2 instances require to access AWS resources. The fourth one, identity federation. This allows user with external accounts to have a temporary access to AWS resources. That means if someone has a Facebook account or Google account or Microsoft account, he can have a temporary access to Amazon Web Services through those accounts. Moving on to the fifth feature, identity information. This provides us to log, monitor, and track what users are doing with our AWS services. Generally, this is done by using CloudTrail service, which we'll be discussing later. Moving on to the fifth one, PCI DSS compliance, that is payment card industry data security standard compliance, which ensures secure transactions through cards, whether it might be a debit card or whether it might be a credit card. Moving on to the sixth one, that is MFA multi-factor. Seventh one, that is MFA multi-factor authentication. We can have absolute security using multi-factor authentication, where user requires a MFA device code every time he logins to access the services he wants to control. Moving on to the last feature, that is password policy. Through this password policy, we can set the type of password we want users to create, whether we want him to create a caps lock password or uppercase password, lowercase password, at least one number. What are the requirements for anything we can set using this feature password policy. So these were the 8 important features of identity access management, IAM. So I hope everyone is clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now. So let us move on to our second topic of today, that is IAM, Identity Access Management Policies. So generally here, IAM policies are like a document that defines one or more permissions. They can be attached to users, groups, and roles. These users, groups, and roles will be discussing tomorrow. Now, they are generally written in JavaScript, that is JavaScript Object Notation, JSON. Now, we can select from predefined AWS list of policies or create our own policy. Now, this is IAM policy. Generally, IAM policies is a document that defines one or more permissions. So these policies, what we can do is we can set permissions for the users that are accessing our resources, Amazon Web Service resources. Now, but these IAM policies can be attached to users, groups, and roles. Generally, these IAM policies are written in JavaScript object notation, that is called as JSON. And moving on, we can select from predefined AWS list of policies or create our own policies. Moving on, there are 200 predefined policies in AWS. Here, if you get into AWS dashboard and policies, there are 200 predefined. All these are predefined policies. 200 predefined policies. We can also create our own policy if we want. Let us discuss the 3 important policies here in IAM policies. The first one is Amazon EC2 full access policy. what we have is we can have the complete EC2 dashboard access through providing them with administrative Amazon administrative access policy. The first one important policy is administrative access policy. So through this, what we can do is we can provide an admin user with the services he wants, and he can access all the services through this policy. The second one is Amazon EC2 full access policy, where he can have access to complete EC2 dashboard, whether it might be EC2 instances or load balances or CloudWatch or auto scaling. He can have the complete access through this policy, that is Amazon EC2 full access policy. The third important policy is Amazon S3 read-only access policy. That is, all the policies are written in JavaScript. Here in administrative access policy provides us full access to AWS services and resources. Here you can see that. It provides us with complete access to all the resources present in AWS, Amazon Web Services. In Amazon full EC2 full, this is the second policy, Amazon EC2 full access policy. Here the user can have a complete EC2 dashboard, whether it might be EC2 instances or load balancers or a CloudWatch or auto scaling. Moving on to the third one, Amazon S3 read only access policy. Through this, we can provide read only access to all S3 buckets using the AWS management console. So those were the three important policies in Amazon policy. So that's all about IAM policies. If you have, I hope everyone is clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now. So let me brief you again. IAM policy is something, a document which contains the permissions we require to give to a user. Now, but these policies can be given to, can be attached with the users, groups, or roles. Moving on, there are 200 predefined policies in AWS, and all these policies are written in JavaScript object notation, that is JSON. There are three important policies: the administrative access policies, which gives administrative access to all the services provided in AWS service. And the second one is Amazon EC2 full access policy, where we can access the complete EC2 dashboard, whether it might be EC2 instances or load balances or CloudWatch or auto scaling. Moving on to the third one, Amazon S3 read-only access policy, where we give only read-only access to the user in a S3 bucket. So this was all about IAM policy. Now, I hope everyone is clear. Now, let us see how to create a policy, IAM policy. Let us create a S3 read-only policy. For that, what you have to do is, let us first create a S3 bucket. For that, get into a storage, S3 service, get into S3 dashboard. I told you how to create a S3 bucket. What you have to do is click on create bucket, give it a unique name. I'm giving the IAM. This is the region I selected. I'm just clicking on create. So here you can see our bucket got created. So let us create policy, IAM policy, read-only policy for this bucket. That means the user can only read the things that are present in a bucket. Though we have nothing uploaded into the bucket, let us create one IAM policy. For creating a IAM policy, what you have to do is you have to log in into Amazon Web Console, Web Management Console, and get into the service security, identity, and compliance. So here is the service. Click on IAM. Then you will be redirected to IAM dashboard, Identity Access and Management Dashboard. So here in this dashboard, click on the left side, you will be having this option policies. Click on policies. First, what will be shown is the 200 predefined policies. If you want something that is predefined, then you can select from this, but let us create a new policy. For that, you have to click on create policy. Now there are by clicking on create policy, here you can create policy, And there are two options for creating a policy. One is JSON, through JSON, where you have to code something. You have to code your permissions and create by clicking on just create. You can create a policy. Now let us not use this as we don't use coding. Let us move on to the second thing, that is visual editor. So here first we have to choose a service type. In service, I'm selecting S3. As we created a bucket, this is the service we want. So yes, now we have selected our service. Moving on to access. Here what we discussed is we are creating a read policy. If you want all S3 actions, that is reading, writing, editing, deleting, everything, then you can select all. But as we have created just the read one, just click on read. So in actions, we selected read. You can see here the 42 are selected. Let us see what are those 42. So in this read option, we are provided with the describe job, get accelerated configuration with all these things. So using read, we can have access to all these. We can get bucket versioning, we can get bucket tagging, we can get bucket request payment, all these things using this read. So we selected the read one. If you want to change some settings, what you have to do is get into the click on the drop down button, and here you can unselect something you don't want. So that's the thing. Now here we have selected the read. Now we're coming to resources. Here what you can do is you can either select a specific resource that is present in S3, or you can select all resources. If you select all resources, it will be, this policy will be applied to all the buckets that you have created in S3 simple storage service. Or we have created a bucket, right, that is BAM196. Let us give that access point. Click on add ARN, region and access point. Moving on to access point, I'm selecting any access point I want, and bucket. Here in bucket we have created bucket, right? Click on add ARN, and here in bucket name BAIM. So this is the bucket we have created, and you can also select the job you want. I'm clicking on any job, and you can also select the object. Let us move on and select any object we want. So I told you there are in resources, we can either select all the resources or a specific resource. If you want to select a specific resource, then you can have this one, any resource or any bucket. And here in bucket, we have added the bucket we have created. So that is how you first select something. First, you have in creating a policy, you have two different options. One is by giving if you want to code, then you can select JSON. And if you want a visual editor, then you can get into visual editor. And in the first one, if you want EC2 service, then you can get into EC2. If you want S3, then you can get into S3. As we wanted to create a read only access to a S3 bucket, we have created this. We have selected the read option. Here in the resources, you can select whether you want to give it a specific resource or all resources you want. Now moving on, click on review policy. Here in review policy, you have to give a name. I'm naming it as BAIM S3 read. So now I have given it a name. Then I have given it a description. So this is our summary of our policy. We have we selected the service S3, and we have given it action read. We have selected all resources. Now click on create policy. So yes, BAM3 read has been created. Let us search for our policy. For that, in the search option. So here, this is the policy we create. You can see here, this is the customer managed. Now, this is how we create a policy. If you want an administrative access policy, you can create that. If you want Amazon EC2 full access policy, you can create that. Now we have created Amazon S3 read-only access policy. Now, this was all about how to create a policy. The difference between the predefined and the created policies are here. For the predefined policies, we have Amazon logo, while as for the policies we created, we don't have a logo, as you can see here. So this is how we create a policy, IAM policy. Today we created a S3 read-only policy, and through this policy we gave access to the user, and he can only read the things present in the bucket we have created. So that was all about identity, creating a policy in identity and access management. I hope everyone is clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now.
No.
So now, so far today we discussed IAM, Identity Access Management. IAM enables us to securely control user access to all AWS services and resources. What we can have is a secure access using Identity and Access Management, IAM. There are 8 key features of IAM. They are shared access, granular permission, secure access to AWS resources, identity federation, identity information for assurance, PCI DSS compliance. We can have password policy and MFA. Moving on, we discussed the IAM policies. IAM policy is nothing but a document with permissions we require to give a user. There are 200 predefined policies in AWS. Generally, these policies can be attached with groups, users, or roles. There are 3 important policies: administrative access policy, Amazon EC2 full access policy, and Amazon S3 read only access policy. So moving on, we saw how to create a IAM policy. We created the IAM policy for S3 service, read-only access policy. Now for creating a policy, what you have to do is you have to first create a S3 bucket or EC2 instance. If you want to select EC2, if you want to select a VPC, you have to create a VPC. Then you have to get into security, identity and compliance. Click on IAM, Identity Access Management. Here in Identity Access Management, on the left side, get into policies. Click there are 200 predefined policy. If you don't want these and you want to create your own policy, just click on create policy. And there are 2 different options for creating a policy. One is JSON, that means through code we can create a policy. And the second one is Visual Editor, where we have to select the service we want, the action we want, read or write, or all. Moving on, the resources, whether we want all the resources to be provided or a specific resource. And by clicking on review policy, and you have to give a name for your policy, and by clicking on create policy, you will be created a policy. Then you can search your policy using a search button. Here you'll be having the difference between the predefined and the created policies are: for predefined policies there is an Amazon logo, and for user created policies there is no logo. So that's all about creating a policy, IAM policies, and the features of identity access management. Tomorrow we'll be discussing groups, users, roles, or in present in identity and access management, and we will also be discussing the best practices and costs of identity and access management. So that's all for today's, guys. I hope everyone is clear. If you have any doubt, you can ask me now. So let us stop for today. Thank you.